I'm doing my presentation on drones in Pakistan. Um, so yeah, let's get into it. In this presentation, I had two questions that I really had to tackle. The first being, why do we have drones in Pakistan? And the second are they effective? And I kind of broke those down to what is a drone and what is it used for? What events led up to the U.S. deploying drones in Pakistan? And what was the goal in deploying drones to Pakistan? And then, are they effective? Are more reflective questions. Are the drones the solution, or is there a better one? Did the U.S. accomplish their goals with the drones in Pakistan? And kind of a really haunting question was it worth it? So let's explore this. Okay, so what a drone is, it's an unmanned aerial vehicle, sometimes often referred to as UAV. It's piloted from a ground or a program. It can be pre-programmed or it can have artificial intelligence to run it. It can be programmed. It can be ran, piloted by three men on the ground, up to three men on the ground. A big reason they use drones is because they're cheaper. They're cheaper than traditional planes. They have longer flying times, up to sometimes up to 82 hours. They're a lot more lightweight, and it's very cost efficient and time efficient, and you don't need someone to be on the plane running it the whole time. There's two types of plane. There's two types of drones. There's surveillance drones and surveillance type drones, or that they use for reconnaissance. And then there's attack drones. Those ones usually have missiles or guns. They're more for aggression. Let's talk about the events that led up to uh, us deploying drones there in Pakistan. So roll back the clocks to 2001. The 9/11 just happened, and the U.S. declares war on terrorism. The U.S. invades several countries with the intention to stop militancy in those countries. Pakistan actually tries to strike a deal with Al Qaeda and the Taliban to give up Osama bin Laden, in order to appease America, but they failed to do so. Um, we the U.S. and Pakistan are very strong allies at this time, and they both agree. And but after allying, the president actually says that his back was kind of against the wall, and he was afraid that if he didn't ally with the United States, that he was afraid of being his exact phrase was bombing into the Stone Age. He was afraid that we would bomb him into the Stone Age. So he allied with the United States in order to stop this. So here's a thing of all the drone strikes that have happened in the past, from 2004 to 2015. The first one happened in 2004. And as you can see, there is a sudden spike come 2008. And it kind of goes up, comes back down, goes back up, comes back down. These are just the drone strikes that are in Pakistan alone. There's many others in other countries, but focusing on Pakistan, these are just the drone strikes that happen in Pakistan. Now, of all these drone strikes, there are hundreds and hundreds of casualties. Um, does the U.S. often hit their targets? Sometimes. Many times, though, there are, I would, having looked at the numbers, and they vary greatly. It's hard to get an exact head count on how many people actually died and how many of those people were actually known terrorists or actual targets for the Taliban, for Al Qaeda. Um, they That being said, most people that have been killed in a lot of these drone strikes are actually civilians and not actual targets. The targets actually, and granted, uh, this varies just because of the data that's available, and it's hard to quantify exactly who is a target and who wasn't a target. But that being said, most people were not targets, based on my research. So there was a spike in, with the Obama administration. There was a huge spike in the amount of drone strikes we saw, as well as um, as well as the amount of we saw a lot of civilian casualties, as well as um, we saw a lot of civilian casualties, in that as well. So I just want to come back to these questions. What is a drone and what is it used for? On slide 2, we went over that. It was an unmanned aerial vehicle. It's piloted from the ground or a program. So we kind of get a better idea of we understand what a drone actually is and what it's used for. Um, so what events led up to the U.S. deploying drones? That was in slide 4. Going back, events leading there. We know that 9/11 played a big factor. Um, Pakistan not actually being able to obtain Osama bin Laden from Al Qaeda or the Taliban, that played a factor in it as well. Um, and what was the goal in deploying drones to Pakistan? Once again, we're going to go back to slide 4, which talks about events leading up to it. Mostly the war on terrorism and how we wanted to stop militancy in these countries. And basically, to do that, we felt that the best solution was to deploy drones to attack some of these people in these countries. Um, are they effective? Now, I have question marks here. The biggest reason is because uh, everything that I everything I dug up on these questions, they were very back and forth. Uh, do you? They're very opinionated on whether it was a good idea or a bad idea. So these are more reflective questions. Are the drones the solution, or is there a better one? Um, the drones, obviously, they did attack a lot of terrorists. However, they did hurt many more civilians. I'm not sure if that I'm not sure if that is a good solution, but I don't know what the best solution is. Did the U.S. accomplish their goals with the drones in Pakistan? I believe to an extent they did. Uh, and once again, this is just my opinion on it. Having read through everything, did the U.S. accomplish their goals with the drones? Yes, I think they did to an extent. And the really haunting question was it worth it? I'm not sure. Once again, this is just my opinion. I'm not sure that all those civilian lives were worth the upper the taking out some of those leaders in the Taliban and in Al Qaeda. But that's like I say, these are just reflective questions. You can answer these yourself, how you feel about them, what you think about them. And so, yeah, that's pretty much my presentation. And thank you so much.